Christine, do you have the first, do you have notice
Yeah,
for the first, the Chrysler Dodge? I don't think anybody's here. Oh, here they are.
Ready when you are.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, and I'm calling the April 10th, 2025 public hearing for the town of Southampton into order. I'd like a roll call, please.
Chair LaFaro,
Present.
Vice Chair Finity,
Present.
Secretary is here, Board Member Mutu is absent, Board Member Neely,
Present.
Board Member Fulham is absent, Board Member Glazer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Council, we have notice,
We do, Madam Chair.
sufficient notice for the Chrysler Dodge, which is the first application. And David, will you read it to the record?
Yes, please take notice that in accordance with local law 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, April 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan entitled Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. The application is proposed for exterior renovations with signage at an existing vehicle sales showroom on a 35,493 square foot parcel located in the HB zoning district at 759 County Road 39, Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-133-1-4.
Thank you, David. Is someone representing this application? Yes, please, come up. You can just take the podium, please, and give us your name for the record.
Good evening, my name is Nicole Madziak. I'll spell it for the record as well. M as in Mary, A, G as in good, D as in dog, Z as in zebra, I-A-K.
Okay. Thank you.
And my name is Maria Matisse.
Maria Matisse. Okay, you both signed in on the form, so we have that here. Great. So please give us an overview of the application.
Alright, so what's going on here is basically we're doing an exterior renovation where we're proposing new ACM panels on the sides of the building as well as changing the signage from BMW to Chrysler Dodge Jeep. And on top of that, we're adding a small jump out for the Jeep entrance. Other than that, we also have the alternate easement site access that we're going to just talk about really quick.
Okay?
Sure, so as depicted on the plans, we are showing an alternative easement access
From
for
Rivian.
Rivian, correct. So Rivian was previously here before this board. We've been in communications with the landlord and the Rivian dealership folks just to have the conversation over where they were proposing the easement. We have concerns because of the location that they proposed. The way in which the traffic circulates around this site currently, there are cars that are essentially would be conflicting with where the cars from the easement would be entering onto the property. So we would have cars that are entering from the easement from the Rivian dealership site on the corner towards our building. And there is sort of a triangular, or I guess it's kind of a square type diamond shape where they would come out. But at that point, the way that this particular building on our site operates, there are cars that would be coming out of the building towards that area where the cars are coming in from the Rivian dealer. And they circulate away from County Road 39A towards the rear of the site, and essentially the opposite way of where the easement would be putting cars onto our property. So we do have a concern with the circulation pattern that exists today conflicting with the way in which the circulation would work for the easement. So we have proposed an alternative easement location which would essentially allow people to enter the easement area both ways and then make a left-hand turn towards the county road and re-enter our site on the side of the building that is along the county road. So it would essentially run down the lot line.
Can you maybe
It is
show
depicted.
it?
Oh, yes. So
have
So
that.
right now, the way it circulates now, cars come up this way, and then from this portion of the building, they do exit the service area and come out this way, but sometimes they also go out that way if they're coming out of this bay. So to have people in the easement coming this way into this area, we just think is going to be unsafe, and we think there's an opportunity for accidents and not being able to see who's coming where. So we're proposing the easement to come so you would make the turn before you're dumped into the middle of this parking area.
Is this the alternative that you're talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure I have.
So that the easement would essentially run along the property line and then connect down to this drive aisle, which already exists today, just creating what we think will be a safer traffic pattern. Since these plans were submitted, we did have further conversations with the property owner next door, and they've asked if instead of keeping this whole easement area on the neighboring lot, we could keep this top portion to get us past this service area, which is really where we're anticipating the most conflict with vehicles, to then just turn back in and connect to the driveway here so that it runs along the building. So essentially we're splitting the new coverage that's gonna be proposed.
Well, let me say, you're not really, the interaction with Rivian is really a private party matter. Rivian's aware that unless they can secure appropriate easements across your site in a safe manner, they do not meet special exception standards. So I don't think that traffic chain patterns is something that this board is going to impose upon you in conjunction with your, the upgrade of your site or the modification of your site. It's not something where, you've got to do this to make Rivian work type thing.
Okay,
So, yeah.
Yeah, we were under the impression that we had to come and before this board to have the easement area approved as to the pattern of it. So
No,
we wanted to talk
Rivian
about it
is-
tonight to make sure that.
Yeah,
we did
Rivian, we can't impose that on you. Rivian has to propose secure easements that are going to make their proposal viable. If they can't do that to your satisfaction, you're the property owner, then they wouldn't be able to go forward.
But
And we are working with them to
Yes.
find
Good,
a
that's great.
solution.
Well,
That's great to
that's
hear.
important, and
Yes.
the reason that it was designed to come down the other side of the building is that we wanted to keep any of the entrances, exits, as far west as possible. So I think Mr. Decker is aware of that. Yes, please give us your name for the record.
Jay Decker.
Yeah.
It's so nice to hear from Dennis because the conversations that have gone on with Rivian and the landlord and myself are basically the total opposite of that.
That's
Rivian
right,
says
they
that
are.
the town is not gonna give you anything you want unless you approve this access. And I said, well, that doesn't seem fair to somebody who's been doing business here for 65 years. And I employ 100 local people and you're gonna come here and tell me what I need to do. I've been trying to talk to Rivian. They have not been responsive to me at all. The landlord talks to me, every once in a while, but again, he's in Arizona or something about it. They haven't come to the table. I've come up with a couple different solutions, and they all keep saying, that's not what the town wants. This is what the town wants. This is what we have to do. So,
Well, we did make a recommendation that
We
they
made
come
that.
down the other side of your building, so
right,
we're in agreement with that.
yeah.
But the two of you need to come to some accommodation, and I'm surprised Rivian didn't get back to you because they've been extremely cooperative with this board.
Matter of fact,
So-
about 3 or 4 weeks ago, after one of the meetings we had here, the landlord told me that he wanted to get himself out of the middle and would it be okay for him to give Rivian my personal contact information. And I said, that's fine. And they haven't reached out to me since then. And I've told him that numerous times. But even as of yesterday, when I was talking to him on the phone, he's like, Jay, just approve this. This is what they want. If you don't do this, they're not going to give you what you want, me what I want. So.
Well, we were pretty firm and clear about an exit from that
Well,
property.
I agree
Yeah.
with what you're trying to do with
Yeah.
the curb cuts and the turn there.
Yeah.
That's obviously is an extremely busy intersection, all day long. I
Yes.
sit there, But I just thought there were safer ways to do it because again, there's really 3 businesses driving this way, the coffee shop people, my other buildings, because all my service is done in that one building. And they're all going this way and these guys wanted to come right here.
So I would suggest that, or we would suggest, I'm sure, that you continue to try to be in conversation with them. We hear what you like.
I certainly
Yeah,
will now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, whatever you decide has to meet your needs. It's not something
Right.
the town's gonna impose upon you.
Thank you so much, sir, because that's what I've been trying to tell them for 2 months. And that was the other thing.
They need to hear it from us, don't to come in for another work session.
Never even talked to us until this was all done, basically, so.
Yeah.
So then
We
we can
did.
continue on with our plans, and I believe the rest to the nice folks.
Anthony, can you help clarify with Rivian how this should proceed?
Well, I haven't worked on this project, so I'm only
Oh.
familiar with it to an extent, but here's the bottom line. The planning board, when discussing Rivian, said, here's the only way this is gonna work, right? You need to get cross-access, and we know that the planning board's preference for that cross-access was the opposite of what, was the original plan, right? So we know that we have those too. In terms of, the planning board can consider any alternative access as part of the Rivian application, and they will. They'll review it in conjunction with everybody else. But beyond that, I don't know what Rivian, we could review a cross-access for the adequacy. Does it make sense in the location? But unless we get all the parties to agree to this.
Right, and we wanted to keep the exit, the final exit onto County Road 39 as far away from
Yeah,
the corner
the
as
key is to
possible.
be far as away as possible from the intersection.
Because that's the whole point of a
that's the key.
cross-access.
The interior circulation is not.
That's flexible, I would think.
Right.
You have to come to an agreement
Thank you.
for your safety and for their practicality.
And just so you know, to address your concerns about the exit onto 39A, the plan that I'm proposing already has a driveway that goes around our building and then exits out onto 39A.
In the front, right?
It's to the side a little bit. It's in between the coffee shop and our building. So we both use that
Right.
driveway. And now 3 people will be using it. But again, it's already there. It's not something we're adding and we're taking away the 3 you want to take away.
I think one of the issues with the proposal that I saw is that they would literally have to make a road. They would have to clear cut all that buffer and make a 20-foot road on that side of your building.
Yeah, well, look,
Because it doesn't
if
exist.
you look at what they're doing that anyway, because they have to cut with the one they have going across the back of the property, which they'll still have to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to cut and buffer that anyway, because that's where the old barn was.
Yeah.
So there's, depressions there that are 10, 12 feet
They
deep.
have to
So they're
even
gonna
it
have,
out,
they
yeah.
have considerable amount of work to do there anyway.
Right.
So basically now, all they're gonna have to do is another 20 or 30 feet this way, and then everybody will just drive right out. The exit's there already.
Right.
There's no parking over there. It was a fire lane, so it's fine.
It seems more logical to you.
Yep.
Well, I suggest you continue conversations with them.
I will now that I have a whole lot more to say. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Anthony. So you have signage, you have a bump out. Can you just talk a little bit about that bump out property?
So the bump out is where you see the Jeep, the signage for the Jeep. The other thing with the signage,
Which side of the building is that?
that is going to be,
Otherwise,
On the west.
In between the coffee shop and the dealership now?
it's on the side. It's literally this little
side.
dotted
Mm-hmm.
box right there.
What are the dimensions of the bump out?
It's 75 square feet, but let me see what it says on the elevation. It was about 8.4, 10, 11, to be a little bit more than 12
10 by
feet.
7 more or
like
less.
a little display note or something.
It's literally just
Yeah.
the doors and a little bit of space beyond
So it's like a
it.
separate entrance or
Yeah, just a separate entrance into just Jeep.
Airlock.
just Jeep?
The other thing, we went to ARB, and some of the signage was different sizes, so we made them all the 2'10", because some of them were a little bit larger. So that was another,
Well, that was a good direction they gave you.
yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak on Zoom?
No one has their hand up.
Okay. Does the board have anything more to say? Anyone in the audience? So I'll close with a 10-day written comment period.
Wait,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Someone just raised their hand now. That's all right.
Okay.
Hello, this is Kevin Fellner from Rivian.
Yes, hi.
Thank you for your time. Just was looking for some clarification here. We're adverse, I'm not, we're impartial to the location of the drive aisle of the easement location, so long as it wasn't disruptive to any operations. I was under the impression, granted, I'm coming into this a little bit late here, is that how we arrived at the location was based at the town's direction in terms of concerns that any other alternative was going to be impose potential traffic and safety concerns. And we're in favor of, mutually agreeing to whatever works for everybody. What we're concerned with at this point is that we have worked in good faith for over a year with the town to arrive at, an approved site plan that is tied to our ability to obtain our certificate of occupancy. We are happy and elated that we finally have received our permit this week and are looking to be starting construction in short order and planning to be able to operate this summer. And our concern is that if our COO is tied to this easement agreement, it impacts our ability to operate.
Not if they get the easement.
It isn't. We don't.
No, as soon as you get the easement, future cross-access easement agreement that's agreeable, then you're done. So you're in the driver's seat on that.
Getting the easement first.
Yeah, so Kevin, can I have your last name?
Fellner, Felner.
Yeah.
We encouraged Mr. Decker to be in conversation. He's had some difficulty reaching someone at Rivian to discuss this modification. So the two of you can get together somehow?
Yes, we will.
And
And
iron
then
it
just
out?
in terms of guidance of, assuming we arrive at a different location for the easement and drive aisle, if you could just walk through how that would impact Rivian's, abilities to like, would we need to be going through full site plan approval again and thus then impact our project schedule and timing to open and operate?
Well, just correct me,
Mhm.
did the site plan have the cross-access shown as this board was anticipating on that plan? The reason why I say is because if it's a matter of changing the location, if the planning board is agreeable to it, you could probably do a modification, but not a full-blown site plan. I think we would do a
Right.
modification.
Did you hear that, Kevin? You wouldn't
Yeah,
have to
it
do
would be
a full-blown site plan, but just on the plans, you'd have to indicate where that easement is going to go, whatever side of the building, et cetera. And that's the issue here.
And what's roughly the timing on a plan modification? Again, Jay, I'll reach out to you directly. We've been, under the impression that we were working, our landlord wanted to take the lead. Apparently, there was some miscommunication there on these initial conversations because he was intimately involved in Rivian's planning process and approval process and how we arrive at these plans. So again, our main concern now is that we've been working on this for over a year and we're close to being able to open and operate for a portion of this season and want to do whatever to make everybody happy, especially our neighbor. But we want to make sure it doesn't impact our ability to operate as long as we continue to work in good faith.
The sooner you can secure an agreement with the adjoining property owner, it's going to be productive, it's going to advance your cause and your timetable. But it sounds like their needs might not align with what you're seeking. And so you're going to have to come into us to let us know what you can secure next door and have the town determine whether that's going to work.
Right, and I guess we'd be, looking for some direction from the town on other locations that would be amenable to everybody.
I mean, we're always available for a work session. Staff will get you right in every other Thursday, and it's more important that you talk to the adjoining
That's,
property owner.
that's the conversation that needs to happen, Kevin. That you need to talk with
Mr. Ross.
Jay Decker.
Yeah. I mean, the alternate plans that I'm showing you today,
Yeah,
they've had for months.
okay, Kevin,
Yeah, and we've had a meeting with Jay and with the town sometime in February, and those plans were out there. Again, we had voiced at that time that we weren't opposed to the plan. We were under the impression that because we had provided alternate drive aisle locations throughout our process and ended up where we did based at the town's direction. And when we had a working session, that was the same message in February that was made clear to us at that time. And so we've been working, based on that understanding, and our landlord, based on existing relationship with Jay and BMW, was offering to help facilitate to explain those things. And as Jay articulated, Rivian was saying that we believe that this is the location it needs to be because the city is not looking, to entertain an alternate location. So that was the impression, and still is, that Rivian has been under.
yeah. Well, just let me say, Kevin, that it has to be mutually agreed on, this easement, because you're two properties side by side.
Right.
So I'm sure it can be worked out. I think what they're proposing is certainly doable. And I would suggest that as soon as tomorrow, you be in communication, so whatever modification we need to make, we can do. But it's certainly doable.
And as soon as something's nailed down, come right into us so we can just, get the ball rolling for you, because we understand the season is rapidly approaching.
Right.
I mean, the goal here is to get the exit farther enough west that everybody is safe. That's our goal. The two property owners have to come up with the best way of making that happen.
Both plans that you have, my alternative and their original plan, are both really exiting out of the same driveway.
Same driveway,
Yes.
yeah.
As far
So
west
It's a
as you can
question
go.
of which side they come
Yeah,
down.
so
Right, right.
we're happy with the end result. You guys have to figure out
Got it.
to do this together.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yep.
the easement, I mean, they have to create an easement, and
Oh, yeah.
and our council has to review that easement. So that's what you need to
Right.
do. So, Kevin, you'll be in touch with Jay Decker, and Jay, you'll be in touch with Kevin?
Yes, I'll call Mr. Ross, the landlord, on my way home.
And you have Kevin's,
I don't have any information from anyone from Rivian, no. But I have,
We communicated over
Yeah.
email. I'll respond to
Okay.
get out of your inbox,
I have-
and we can get numbers and
I'll call
connect
David on my
tomorrow.
way home.
Kevin, are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Great, okay, thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom?
Yes, one more person.
No, I think it's just a picture, but yes.
They have their hands up, but they declined to be a panelist twice, so I don't know.
Okay,
That's it.
so I'll entertain a motion to close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Thanks.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have notice, council, for the bridge site plan?
We do, Madam Chair.
Okay. Gloria, do you want to read that into the record?
Please take notice that in accordance with local law number 14 of 2022, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, April 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 116 Hampton Road, Southampton, and via video conferencing to consider the site plan modification and covenant amendment application entitled Bridgehampton Road Racers Lot 16, part of Suffolk County filed subdivision map number 10748. This application consists of a modification to an approved grading plan and a covenant amendment to abolish the common driveway located in the CR 200 zoning district and archaeological sensitive area at 31 The Bridge, Noyak, Southampton Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-23-1-2.28.
Thanks, Gloria.
My name is Jake Watkins with Roger Ferris and Partners Architects, representing the client. I'm joined today by members from Reyes Design and Rayner Engineering as well, should any questions come up. There are two parts to the project. One is the amendment of a common driveway easement that takes over the first approximately 100 feet of the driveway. That has been submitted, which is essentially an amendment of the written easement. That's been submitted to Town Council with comments. We received those comments and prepared to submit that to the county, should this go forward with approvals. All it basically states is that the shared portion of the driveway be devoted solely to this Lot 16 residence, and that the adjoining property, which is we call Lot 15, have its own access to Checkered Path, the main road. The second part to the request is essentially a grading plan amendment and planting revegetation plan amendment. The property was overcleared during construction. We met with you during a working session to discuss this. We submitted an initial planting plan to Conservation. Marty Shea reviewed it. He came back with some recommendations for planting, which Reyes incorporated into their new design. He also recommended additional plantings take place from a square footage perspective of a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 1 square foot of planting that was overcleared, we bring back 2 square feet, which essentially means that for the approximately 25,000 square feet of overclearing there was, we are bringing back 50,000 square feet. That means that there was additional plantings that would take place on the western portion, a little bit on the northern portion, and also on the eastern portion to accommodate that revegetation, such that instead of the approved allowable clearing of 35%, that's mandated as part of the site plan review, we would only have 19.76% of total proposed clearing.
Okay, we're familiar with the application, and I've looked at it, and you have the slopes that are beyond recovery, so I think that's one of the reasons Marty asked for 2-1.
Understood.
Yeah. Are there any questions from us? We're not familiar with this. Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one.
Okay, so I will, we'll close with a 10-day written comment period. Motion by Gloria, second by David, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. Thank you. Motion to adjourn by Dennis, second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, 2 absent. We are adjourned, thank you.